Assalamualaikum, this is Zainabatul here and this is Bookish-journey. In this video, I will tell you about 4 novels which I have read so far, and I hope you all going to enjoy reading these novels. Yes, so let's begin the first novel, which is Against the Loveless World. And so this is Against the Loveless World, which is written by Susan Abdul Hawa, and this is the novel. And Susan Abdul Hawa, the author of Against the Loveless World, she is a Palestinian American author and activist. So she wrote this novel after several interviews of who spent their time in prison to researchers as well, and many people actually told her how they involved in several sexual activities due to their several survivals, and she has her own experiences as well, which she added to her novel. And she is living in America, and so as far as I know, she cannot move to Palestine. So yes. So actually, this author has a very well author, and however, she Against the Loveless World is based on the political figure fiction genre, and basically, writer is mainly telling the history of Palestine. Although there are many different settings, actually places, plus we can relate most of the things from a current situation, which is in process nowadays. And you can see as the writing font is just readable, and truly, as the name of the topic indicates, as Against the Loveless World, actually a young girl named Nahar, whose father who was died when they were expelled from the Palestine, and her brother was too small to take the responsibility of the house. So, and then they lives in Kuwait. She does a job in corner there. Since there were issues, she needed to shift the job as well, and she got so much hurdles to get a job. Many people she interacted, they demanded some sexual works, and since she needs a job, so she do whatever he demands, people offers. And notably, there were some people she met who threatened her and to reveal her sexual works, and she needs to educate her brother as well, and she does 2 jobs most of the time, and her husband betrayed her as well, and left without giving her a divorce. So she lives in prison for 16 years in Palestine. So there she kept in special cell. On the whole, I want to say that she never get love from the world but hate. So this is a summary, or you can say this is a um, short story of this novel. So hope you enjoy this. And plus, I want to say that in addition, this setting of any novel is significant as the character is. And so when I was reading this novel, at each and every point, the story creates an imagination, and author mentioned his story in different settings, like in Kuwait, where Nahar and his brother grown up, and Palestine, her hometown, and in the same way Iraq and Jordan. Every step has suspense, and especially when I reached at the end, I have some more curiosity to what happened next, undoubtedly. And I think the story's time period is about around 2003 something. So, so further, I will say about if I will talk about the story. So the characters of the story are unfortunately vivid, and it seems Susan Abdul Awwa does her finest act of putting so energetic characters, bring about so memorable characters. At the time, at the beginning, I don't like Nahar. She don't some words which is out of rules. But end of the story built sad to her as she got so much hate, and I felt so sensitive towards her, especially when she free from prison and get to the Kuwait, or never coming back to her own country as well, Palestine, which is. And one more thing which is interesting is the bond of brother and sister. The most of the time discuss about news, about the evil religious, etc., particularly about the news. Although I think the story was ended up but still I never forget Nahar. I literally created an image of her while reading the novel, and actually the story is written itself by Nahar while she was in a prison for 16 years. And it happens that the reader reads if the story is so fascinating and compelling as well. So the Against Loveless World is so energetic since the beginning, and it just isn't like I love reading from the middle or somewhere, but it always becomes a page turner for me. And interestingly, one thing I like about this novel is the story from the beginning till the end is predictable, and that what happens next, and if someone is engaged in something other thing, their mind is perpetually things and what will happen next. So author wrote such appealing story. Actually the sad and the happy in a way, and overall it's best and complete ending. So in addition to this, author art of writing is unique and understandable, as I think is, and some parts really rare where I just stop and read again the sentence, but I read frankly. I learned so much new words throughout the story. Additionally, I think that author's writing is so persuasive and constructive. She begins her novels in such an compelling way, and that I wish to read the whole novel the whole day. Personally, Against the Loveless World is the finest book I felt, and I want to read again in future, inshallah. So, personally, I believe the story is really appealing, and it creates catharsis, which is the best part of this novel. And I really think you people must read this novel, and I must rate this novel 10 out of 10, which is the best thing. I like this novel. I hope you're going to enjoy this novel. So, after reading this book, I will review the next novel which I read is Hard Times. It is a classical novel, and it's a basically classical novel and written by Charles Dickens. And Hard Time is one of the classical novel of Charles Dickens. Basically, Charles Dickens represents industrial revolution in hard times in his novel. So this is the novel which I read last month actually. So it's a classical novel, and Charles Dickens represents industrial revolution in hard times, and hard times is actually impacted on Victorian society. So the people enjoyed and found, and actually people I think enjoyed and they found inspiration from hard times. So Charles Dickens wrote this novel to appeal students and readers, and hard times has had three parts actually. And first is reaping, second is gardening, and first is sowing, second is reaping, and the third is gardening. So each has its own unique imagination. So Charles Dickens wrote this novel in 20th century, which was Victorian era. So Charles Dickens is the most popular novelist of his generation, and I love this author. So I must recommend to read Hard Times. So I love this novel. So I hope that you all going to enjoy this novel as well. So further, I will say about this that further story open with Mr. Thomas Granville. So this further the story is about that, and Mr. Thomas Granville teaching at his school in his town, and they said teach these boys and girls nothing but facts. So he want to teach them the facts. And Mr. Thomas has two kids in this novel, a girl named Lucy and a boy named Tom Granville. So Mr. Thomas wants to teach the facts to his children as well, everything based on facts and calculations. So Mr. Thomas children never wants to live a life which is full of facts and calculations, but Mr. Bonderway is Mr. Thomas' great grand's friend, and Tom works with him and in his business actually. Since Mr. Thomas Granville wants to teach his children facts, therefore he married his daughter Lucia to Mr. Granville. Although he was double of her age, so I think she will lead her life with the best of partners. So who can serve her better? His father thinks for Lucia. So Lucia never wants to marry him, And Tom and Lucy are the best siblings and share everything with each other. Tom works under Mr. Brownderby, and his father always wants him to follow the principles, which had really negative impacts on their children. So this is actually the story is about. So I think it has a great message in this novel of Charles Dickens. So it is the best novel, and further I think that Charles Dickens' character is the best characters he do in his novel, and Charles Dickens' characters in the novel are the best that portrays every single angle of the character and builds the imagination through their characters, as revealed by Mr. Thomas Bonderby was a rich man, banker and merchant, and whatnot, a big, loud man with a stare and metallic loud, a man made out of a horse. Material seemed to have been scratched to make so much of him. A man with a great puffed and forehead, swelled veins and temples, and such a strained skin to his face, and it seemed to hold his eyes open and lift his eyebrows up. So this is an illustration I have shown you from this novel, that how Mr. Bonderby is. So in Charles Dickens' novels, Hard Time, his protagonist character is Mrs. Thomas Granville, and his motive is to teach facts and calculations to his children and to students. When plus Mr. Thomas Granville teaches the children how to live their life on their own principles, and plus Mr. Bonderby is another character of Charles Dickens, which truly prominent personality of Cooktown as well. So now Tom works in his bank, Mr. Bonderby's bank, and when he notably needs to help from his father, Mr. Granville, he does not help him. Mr. Granville does not help his son, and because it was against his principles, stamps from the town, Tom went against him and his rules. So it's a result that he goes around against his father. And further, what I think, loveless marriage, which indicates through the marriage of Mr. Bonderby and daughter of Mr. Bonderby. So now furthermore, Hard Time has it seems likely that prose of Hard Times is complicated and easy to understand, and plus vocabulary are easy and plain. In his writing style, I believe he shows vivid imagery, and vocabularies are easy and plain, and in his writing style, I believe he shows vivid imagery to show that serpents of smoke and melancholy and mad elephants, and represent the image of industrial landscape and the environment effects on people. And secondly, dialects can be seen in working class and characters, and particularly, okay, in the case of Stephen Blackpool, it clearly explicits linguistic barriers to show that, like for example, I thought go west in hand me Richard. So by this sentence you can easily understand that how the language of poor class can speak. And another example is early night less. So this is the kind of language the poor class speaks, and lower and upper class has such a language, huge difference in the language. And some other characters like Celery and her father, some language barriers too. So personally, I felt difficult to understand the particular chapter for this reason. So finally, as for me, I think Hard Time I could, for those who loves classic and has interest in literature. In fact, I prefer readers to read Hard Times once. I believe you people must enjoy reading this novel. So, as it happens, once you enjoy reading Hard Times, you will read with flow. So, I think I recommend you to read this. And summarizingly, I guess Hard Times 5 out of 4 reviews from after reading this Hard Times. So I recommend you to read this novel at least once. So when I was reading this novel, I enjoyed so much, although I did not read any classical novel before. So I was confused how it will be, but I felt like I love this novel. So I recommend you to read this novel. So yes, so the second novel you can say, or it could be be a memoir. So I read a memoir, and I recommend you to read that memoir as well. And that memoir is My Feudal Lord. So My Feudal Lord is the memoir which I read for the first time, and before that I never read the memoir. So let's begin. So My Feudal Lord is actually written by the Tehmina Durrani, which is now the author of this novel. So yes, this is the novel My Feudal Lord, which is written by Tehmina Durrani. And Tehmina Durrani, a Pakistani writer who wrote My Feudal Lord after so much struggle. And My Feudal Lord is a memoir where she wrote about her personal life experience, significantly about her marriage. So Tehmina Durrani wrote other books as well to show that, like for example, Blasphemy, More Akka, and Happy Things and Sorrow Times. Yes, so Tehmina Durrani actually wrote his My Feudal Lord in 1991. I think as far as I remember, My Feudal Lord it was published in 1991. So Tehmina Durrani had a great struggle to publish My Feudal Lord, and every publisher rejects her books as a result of her story, I guess she wrote. And further, since no one was publishing her book, she published by herself, and it was great effort by her. And once it published in swiftly, so yes, further, since no one was publishing her book, so she could publish herself. So, and once it published swiftly, My Feudal Lord more popular and recognized worldwide, and so undoubtedly her book now considered as international bestseller. You can see the sensational European bestseller here, like it is written. So it is her effort that it was published, and now it become a European bestseller. Now, Tehmina Durrani was first married to Anis, to whom she has a kid named Tanya, and Tehmina married Anis by own choice. And Tehmina Durrani belongs from a family where beauty matters a lot. In her childhood, she suffered a lot because of her lack of beauty, and Tehmina's mother eliminated her contributes in her complexities. Her grandmother was really kind towards her, and Tehmina's first marriage did not run smoothly, and she got divorced, and by her own will, against her parents, got married to Mustafa Kher. His charming and sweet personality attracted her so much that she grew away with him. And Mustafa Kher was a Pakistani politician, as you know. So he was called a Lion of Punjab, Mustafa Kher. And once she got married to him, her life was totally changed. Tehmina's life was turned upside down after getting married to Mustafa Kher. Actually, My Feudal Lord has 3 parts. You can see in the index as well. And like you can see, there's three portions of this, and basically she has written so much. And you can see she also illustrates some pictures over here, and it's shown that it is Mustafa Kher as well. So it seems slightly that when I was reading My Feudal Lord, at some point I was shocked how cunning and cruel could be to beat someone so harshly, notably during our pregnancy. And my thoughts about My Feudal Lord could be, this book is a lesson for those who run towards personality and charming characters in spite of looking deep down to their thoughts and internal behavior. So charming personality only disguised to our mind. Additionally, I believe the writer's language style is so simple and fabricated. So vocabulary is so easy to understand, and I believe by reading her book, I learned numerous vocabulary as well, and I did not stuck on each line to look the word. Inspired, I read smoothly. So to be sure, I love the way she has coherence in her book, in this memoir. She perfectly describes her personal life and political life separately. Of course, there is memoir, and revealing about her own life is not easy to write, but she wrote so smoothly. So undoubtedly, I recommend my read a lot to those who love memoir and for those who learn something from other experiences. So why I would suggest others this book, since this book has many lessons. So how to stand for yourself, describe our personal life and political life separately, of course. It's memoir and revealing about your own life is not easy. So to write, but she wrote so smoothly. Finally, I would give 4 stars out of 5 since she gave lessons through her own life, and so I give 4 stars to this memoir. So after this is the next book I will recommend you is, yes, the fourth and the final book which I recommend you, and hope you're going to enjoy this memoir as well. So this is actually a memoir, and hope you're going to enjoy it. So this is a Trevor Noah, Born a Crime. Trevor Noah is a character or the author of this novel. Trevor Noah is the first author to whom I am reading, and Trevor Noah wrote his own journey about how he faced racism throughout his childhood. And Trevor Noah is not just about a memoir. Essentially, he is describing about racism badly affect your mind. Trevor Noah is actually South African comedian, writer, and producer as well. So Trevor Noah is a comedian, writer, and producer as well. So as I've told, so firstly, when I read the title Born a Crime, I did not understand what it means. So once I finished out the book, I get the answer about title. What is that means? Born a Crime is truly describing being black or being a color skin is a crime, where you just see humans' appearance in spite of their matter inner self. And so additionally, I would say that Trevor Noah actually wants to share how he faced racism and how his childhood came under apartheid and spoiled his childhood. So, however, when I read this memoir, I feel the theme of discrimination where Trevor is feeling to adjust in the schools and societies. Once he mentioned there is a Valentine's Day at the school and he dated a girl and she accepted him, but on that day she left him and made another friend for the reason he was white. So evidently when he moved to Eden Park, similarly, and he was colored child. So when he was playing under a mulberry tree, once and some black colored kids started throwing mulberry on him. Sam's too. Trevor was a mixed colored boy and could not adjust into black colored society. So Trevor was a non-white person either. He is white nor completely black. He was mixed. So Trevor's father is white and her mother was black eventually. So he has mixed colored boy. So therefore he suffered a lot because of identity, which is shown in her memoir as a theme. And lastly, which I feel that poverty is also visible, seen throughout her journey. How her mother saved money, she tries to buy few clothes and buys extra size bigger clothes so it will goes longer, and it seems opportunity has so much barriers for black people only, not other colored people, like particularly about white people. So it's such a thing is shown. So, in addition, author use eloquent language, and each chapter I get to he express how racism affects in his life, the author's life, and the best thing I like about the author is how he expressed racism in each chapter which he achieved in his life. Once you start reading it, you won't stop until chapter ends. So personally, I believe when I get to reach when his mother was shot and was admitted to the hospital, how he got panic and anxious since he was so close to her, and how he touched his mother's hands and cried. So feels so emotional and sympathetic to me. Well, I like how he remained focused on each chapter, what he tried to convey their readers. So I like this part of this memoir as well. Like, and finally, I would say it seems likely firstly that expressing style from chapters to chapters is remarkable, and therefore it has had hard to convey what he went through. But he tells how he suffered from racism in his childhood, and I believe when readers will read this book, racism gives them a positive impact and a lesson as well. And it seems to me like, and racism and those who love non-fiction plus wants to know about racism will certainly enjoy reading this memoir. So I rate this book 4 stars out of 5.